I frequently get requests to lead rituals or to create videos or lectures to show people what they can do in order to heal the world. From my point of view, our power does not reside in going out and trying to change the world as much as it resides in our ability to bless the world. The problem with doing magic to, quote, heal the world is that everybody has their idea of what healing the world is supposed to look like. And so then what our magic starts to become is us imposing our will upon the world based on our ideas of what healing is supposed to look like. And it's very challenging to get 5 people together to agree upon what healing the world is supposed to look like, let alone large numbers of people to agree on what that healing is supposed to look like. So it really is a wasted effort to try to bring people together to change the world through magic. I know that most people don't want to hear that because they want us to be able to just wave a wand and have certain conditions change. But it's impossible for us to agree on what those changes are supposed to look like. And that's because the ego mind doesn't really want change. The ego wants change in that it will allow us to rearrange the furniture, but it does not want us happy. It does not want us free. It does not want things to work out for us here. For as long as we are working with the ego to try to, quote, change and heal the world, the best we can come up with is rearranging the furniture. If your house has toxic carbon monoxide leaking into it and you decide, let's put the sofa over there because that'll feel better. That's kind of what we do when we try to, quote, heal the world with our magic. Because we think our vision of what a healed world looks like is better than what's actually happening. But you see how that is the ego, right? My vision is going to heal the world. That's ego right there. If we were to shift just slightly in our approach, instead of saying, I want to heal the world, I want to change the world, I want to make everything different based on my agenda, even though we will couch it in different language that sounds very spiritual. If we shift just slightly into saying, I'm only here to bless the world. I'm only here to bless the world. I don't know what's going to make the world look better. I don't know what a healed world will look like. I don't know what to do about this situation before me. I don't know what any of it means, but I do know that there is a power that does have a better idea than I do, that does have a better idea than what we are experiencing. And I'm going to connect to that power and be nothing more than a conduit to bless the world with its vision. Then our responsibility is what's in front of us. That's what I mean by saying you can't save the world. That's not your job to save the world. Let the world save itself. Bless the world and do what's in front of you to do. You will be given very clear assignments when you do that. When you're willing to bless the world and to be a servant to the Spirit that is here to offer healing to the world, and when you cease saying, I know what to do, I know what's going to be better, I know the right thing, when you stop that and you say, I don't know, but I'm willing to be the conduit through which the blessing flows, then you're surprised. Things work out in ways that you didn't expect because you didn't know. And so if it can happen on a small scale in your interactions, day-to-day, personal interactions, imagine the ripple effect that might be having. There's always been this idea that there's this small kind of group of people somewhere, maybe up in the Himalayas or something, and because they sit with relaxed bodies and minds and bless the world and keep their minds focused on the infinite, their presence is the reason why we are still here. That if it wasn't for those few wise people doing that, everything would be on fire. Now, I don't know that that's true, but the image is interesting because the idea is that it doesn't take everybody. It doesn't take everybody changing their minds at once. It only takes a few focused minds who are willing to bless the world rather than condemn it, and who are willing to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to be the conduit for blessing through which healing occurs. It only takes a few of us doing that to make a big difference. The ego loves to say, well, if that's true, then why is everything getting worse? The answer to that is, how do you know it's getting worse? How do you know this isn't part of the better? How do you know? It looks worse. Yes, I will admit it. It does look worse. But we don't know the big picture. We don't know. What we do know is what's in front of us. What we do know is that we can accept the assignment to be a conduit of blessing. And out of that blessing, all kinds of directions come. You may get directed that you need to go lead a protest, or that you need to have a letter writing campaign, whatever it is that Spirit is having you do. But you're not doing it because you decided those things are necessary. You're no longer rearranging the furniture in the house that's being gassed. You're instead doing what you're being guided to do by Spirit so that you can turn off the gas, so that you're no longer in that toxic environment. Part of our blessing the world is to follow that up with the action that we are guided to take. More often than not, we don't have any clue what kind of impact that's going to have. We don't know. But the ego says, well, if I don't see results, then it didn't mean anything. It didn't have any effect. If I listen to my ego every time it says, well, everything you do doesn't really have that big of an effect, I hear that from it every single day, then that would mean that I wouldn't do anything, and that nothing that I do would reach anybody, and it wouldn't have any effect because I've already made up my mind that my little role here is insignificant. You don't want to get caught in that trap of it either needs to all heal before my very eyes or nothing's working, or the idea that my perceived small contribution isn't having a lasting huge impact. That's the ego. It wants to compartmentalize everything. It wants to make everything big and small. It wants to make everything significant and insignificant for you. And if it can convince you that you're small, that you're little, and that your insignificant little contribution and blessing is like a little drop in the ocean and makes absolutely no difference, so why bother? Then it's done its job. It's part of the whole self-destructive concept of what the ego is. Spirit doesn't see it that way. Spirit doesn't see big and small, significant and insignificant. Your contribution and your ability and willingness to be a conduit of blessing for the world is just as significant as anything that anybody in the entire world could do. It's just as significant. And if you're willing to be used for that purpose of blessing the world, your contribution is maximal, and the effects of your contribution are maximal. It's all about, just like with anything else, what voice am I listening to? If I'm listening to the ego, I'm getting upset. I'm getting tense. I'm feeling rushed. I'm feeling insignificant. I'm feeling like I have to duck and cover. I'm feeling like nothing's working. Everything's getting worse. It's a scary world. On and on and on and on and on. If I'm listening to Spirit, I say, I don't know. I don't know what anything means. All I know is that I'm here to be a place of blessing. So I'm going to start with blessing what's in front of me. And then when I hear a piece of news, I'm going to bless that. I'm going to bless everything that comes into my mind. And the more I'm willing to be the action of blessing rather than the action of fear, then the more effect I'm having on the world. But those effects are much bigger than what my eyes will report back to me. Because if all I did was go along with what my eyes saw, then I wouldn't want to do anything. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing anything because nothing would make any difference. If I believed that the only thing that mattered is what I saw with my own eyes, I wouldn't bless anything. Because yes, sometimes I bless something and it changes before my eyes, but sometimes I bless something and I don't hear about the change until many years later. And sometimes I don't hear about it at all. But that doesn't mean that blessing was for naught. Every blessing has maximal effect. If you want to, quote, heal the world, you have to stop looking at the world as something that needs your healing. Instead, recognize that everything that is in front of you, either in your perceived physical world or mental world, is there for you to bless. The degree that you are unwilling to bless it is the degree to which you are unwilling to be a force for healing in the world. And like I said, when you bless something, you may get very inspired that you have to take your fight to the world. Look at Joan of Arc. She blessed the world all the time, but it's not like it stopped with that. She listened to that inner guidance and took her fight to the world. And sometimes that's what you'll be called on to do too. But that's not necessarily the case. You'll be told. You'll be shown. If you say, I bless this world, I bless what is in front of me, Spirit, what would you have me do? What do I do now? Spirit usually says, I'll let you know when it's time. I'll let you know when we get there. Spirit knows better than to give you something to plan for. Spirit knows that it's best if you are shown and told in the moment. Because if you start planning for things, then what takes over? Your ego. The ego mind takes over because the ego loves planning for things. And a lot of the ego's plans are simply there to waste your time so that you aren't open and receptive to the instructions of Spirit in the moment. And so our job really is to become finely tuned instruments of intuition. And when we can live our lives intuitionally like that, we truly live a magical life. And we truly do make a difference in the world. But it's not because a ton of us got together and decided what we thought the world needed, and we're all going to create a thought form together based on our agreed upon vision. And I'm not saying that that's not necessarily a good thing sometimes either. If Spirit really wants that, it'll make sure that happens. It's happened before, and it will probably happen again. But it's not because those people decided on it. It's because those people were willing to say yes when Spirit decided on it. We have to get past the ego idea that we know what to do. We know what the world needs. We know what's wrong with the world, and we know what will be right with the world. Remember the phrase, the road to hell was paved with good intentions. That whole myth of Lucifer is there in order for us to remember that. Big, bright ideas sometimes are not what this world needs. What this world needs is blessing, intuition, willingness to stand for the light, to stand for the healing, to keep our minds open for that. I do think that there's a lot we can, quote, do to heal the world magically. But it's not necessarily what you think it's supposed to look like. It's not necessarily that we're all going to come together for the same ritual. It's not necessarily that we're all going to meditate at the same moment on the same vision. It's more that we are willing to, in the moment, be the conduit for blessing that the world needs. The conduit for blessing. That's huge, isn't it? When you think about it. Being willing to say yes to blessing the world where it needs it. Now, if that doesn't stoke ideas of what healing is supposed to look like, I don't know what will. It's not so much that we are superimposing our will upon the world and focusing a new thought form because we have this idea of what's going to make the world better. It's that we are opening our mind to Spirit so that we are nothing more and nothing less than priests and priestesses of Spirit. We are here to dispense blessing, and we do it indiscriminately. That's the other thing. The ego says they deserve my blessing, but they don't. They're the problem, and they're not. You can see how arrogant that is, I'm sure. I know everything. I know everything. I know so much that they definitely don't deserve my blessing. They're the problem. That's what the ego wants us to do. And frequently what we're called to do is allow ourselves to bless the people and situations that we don't agree with, that we don't like, that we are out of harmony with. And when we can do the hard work of looking at somebody in the world that we see over and say, well, that's what's in front of me and I'm only here to bless. Therefore, I have to step back. I have to stop being so arrogant. I have to stop thinking that I know who deserves my blessing and who doesn't. Can you imagine if oxygen said, some of you are worthy, but some of you aren't? Some of you can have life, but some of you, No, oxygen is there for everybody. So if oxygen is there for everybody, good and evil alike, my blessing has to be there for everybody, regardless of whether or not I see them as good or evil. Until I can do that, I have no business, quote, trying to heal the world. Because that's not healing. That's not healing. Only people that vote the way I do can get healed or blessed. Only people that think the way I think can get healed or blessed. Only people that aren't mean can get healed or blessed. Only people that don't have mental illness can get healed or blessed. Only people who've never abused anybody can get healed or blessed. Only people who've never victimized another person can get healed or blessed. When in fact, it's those very people that need your blessing more than anybody. If they only got a little of your blessing, who knows how much better their behavior might be? I don't know. But that's the highest place to be. I don't know. Oxygen doesn't know. Oxygen doesn't know if you, quote, deserve to be kept alive or not. It's not for oxygen to know. If oxygen knew that, oxygen might make a choice. And that's not what the infinite wants. The infinite wants everybody to be enlivened by the life force. When we can learn how to bless like oxygen keeps us alive, we are actually doing something. We're actually doing something to raise the vibrations of the world. We're actually doing something that allows for healing in the world. But until we're willing to do that, we're really doing nothing more than trying to rearrange the furniture in a home that is being bombarded with carbon monoxide. We are just rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic as it's sinking. But the blessing that we are willing to give is nothing but extra lifeboats. We are like the white blood cells in the bloodstream of humanity when we bless. But when we don't bless, or when we put huge conditions on our blessing based on what we think we know, we're not working like the white blood cells anymore. We're actually part of the problem more than we realize. It is challenging. It is difficult when you look at things this way. But we also become acutely aware of what our role really is here. We are here to bless. We are here to be priests and priestesses of spirit. And if we don't take that role seriously, that's okay too. But then we get what we get. We can't go any further because we're unwilling to use our power the way it was meant to be used. And that is the highest use of our power, to bless the world and to bless the people in the world indiscriminately. So you have a lot of power to heal the world, but it's not based on your agenda. It's based on your willingness to not know what it's supposed to look like. It's based on your willingness to be nothing more than a conduit for blessing and to do so indiscriminately. And that can be challenging, but you can also try it and see. You can also try it and see before you decide to reject the idea completely. You can give it a shot and see if you don't feel more certain that you're onto something, that you are part of the healing team, that you're one of those people, let's say in the Himalayas, that's keeping this world from burning down, because you have that power within you. There's nobody more holy than you on this planet. Not one person, past, present, or future, that is more holy than you. The only difference between a holy person and a non-holy person is their willingness to be that, their willingness to accept that role. And if that's your role, then nothing else matters. Everything else falls into place for you too, by the way. If you're willing to be the conduit for blessing in this world, everything in your personal life falls into place as well. It's supposed to. And if it doesn't, then you have more work to do as well. It's not uncaring to work on what's in front of us. It's not uncaring to not rush into the world and heal it. What's uncaring and glib is thinking that you know what to do. That's arrogant, thinking you know what's going to make everything better. Being in the place of not knowing is humble. And when you're in a place of not knowing and humility, you are also in a place of great power to change. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.